Cloud. Okay. All right. Not sure why Emily's having some trouble.
I have a question real quick.
Yes, ma'am.
You said you're gonna start recording these. Where are we gonna find these recordings? Because we've always just
On my YouTube channel. I
okay, is
have,
that on your profile?
yeah, it's on my profile picture underneath my Zoom link. When you click on that, it should bring you straight. It should bring you straight to the page. If it doesn't, please let me know.
Okay,
But
so
that's where all my recordings are going to be. In addition to any kind of like screencast-o-matics that I might do, or audios on my own about clinical or whatever, everything is going to be housed there. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm recording. Sorry, Emily. Emily, are you there? Emily Smith, are you there? Or did she get kicked out again? Oh. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to let her in. Doesn't want to let me let her in. Okay. All right. I'll just keep letting her in every time, because the way the Zoom works is like if somebody's trying to get in, I'll go ahead and it'll ding them like a doorbell, and I'll just keep letting her in. Hopefully, it'll somehow it'll let her in. Let's see. Okay. All right. So again, apologize for the technical difficulties, and I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Miss Adams. Okay, I'll be teaching you PN1, and I'll be teaching some of you guys clinical. Again, I know clinical this semester is going to be on Thursdays and Fridays. Not sure where you guys are going to be exactly. Miss Lott needs to break up the groups. So I'm not sure exactly which hospitals you guys are going to be at. I know the hospitals that we're going to be going to is going to be North Oaks Rehab or CMR, and Pam, and I think Lolly Kemp, but I'm not 100% sure about Lolly Kemp. Okay, but the three I do know is post-acute medical in Hammond, CMR in Hammond, and North Oaks. Okay. We're not going to be able to go to clinical until after the safe start date of February 2nd. Okay. They won't let us do that until after February 2nd. So until then, before then, I'm going to have some skills modules, okay, on the clinical tile, okay, that I'm going to need you guys to complete. That's going to go towards your clinical hours, okay, that the board has approved for online clinical hours, okay. So I'm going to be putting those on your tile, and I'm going to be giving you directions on how to do it and how to get there, okay. Again, clinical, not sure how many students each hospital is going to let us take on site. I know last semester they only allowed us to take 7 at North Oaks at a time. So that may mean, again, this is all kind of up in the air right now, but that may mean we may have to split the groups. Some of you do some online clinical, and some of you do physical clinical, and then rotate. Again, not sure how that's 100% going to be yet, but I just kind of wanted to give you a heads up of how it worked last semester. Okay. And if you guys have any questions, I tend to a little bit long-winded. So if anytime you have any questions, just go ahead and raise your hand or say, I have a question, or type it in the chat. I have a question as well. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk on here. Okay, that's okay. You can always use the chat, okay, as well. And I will get to all the chats. And if I don't get to the chats, please let me know, raise your hand, say, see the chat, okay? Because I want to make sure I get everybody's questions answered, okay? So that's kind of where we're at for clinical right now. Again, like I said, as soon as I know more information about it, I will be more than happy to give. I'll be definitely happy to give all of you everything that I know. Okay. So any questions right now about anything about clinical? Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to.
I had a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So for the scrubs, you need a patch right here and a patch on your arm?
No, I think you guys have been grandfathered in because you came in last semester. So I think you just need the patch. I don't think you don't need the embroidery. Only the freshmen are going to need the embroidered. So I think you just need the patch because you guys have kind of gotten grandfathered in.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
new
So just the
class will need the embroidered. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And it needs to be on the lab coat too, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Let me check on that. Let me make sure. I know it definitely needs to be on the top. Let me make sure it needs to be on the jacket because I'm not 100% sure about that, but I will find out.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Got my little to-do list. All line out. I have to write things down, guys, so just bear with me. Let's see. Okay, let's see who's trying to come in. Emily's in. Oh, come on, Emily. We want you to come in. Hopefully it'll work this time. Don't know why it's not working. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to talk about the syllabus, the wonderful, wonderful syllabus. Share. Okay. Let's see. Admit. Okay. All right. So we're going to go here. Okay. And I'm not the fastest technology wise, guys. So just kind of hang with me. And again, if y'all have technical like tidbits, please, please let me know. Okay. No problem. I am all up for technical tidbits all the time. So, all right. So this is the master syllabus for PN1. Okay. Again, it looks kind of, let's see, I'm going to increase the font a little bit so you guys can see it better. Okay. All right. So this is, can everybody see the syllabus? Okay. Again, if you can't see it, please let me know. Where's the chat? What happened to the chat? Hold on. There's the chat. Okay. All right. So if you can't see it, please let me know in the chat. But this is the syllabus for PN1. Okay. So PN1 basically in a nutshell is going to be, we're going to be talking about how the patient care relates to the particular disease process that the patient now has. Okay. Like last semester, you learned about anatomy and physiology, and you learned about foundations. Okay. The foundation, the basic skills needed to take care of somebody. Now you're gonna, poor Emily, she can't get in. Yeah, so this is gonna be now, you're gonna be taking that care, okay, the care of the patient, and you're gonna be relating it to that disease process. And the disease processes that we're going to go over, okay, is going to be cardiovascular, okay, lymphatic, and immune functioning, okay. However, before we do all of that, okay, we have to talk about how fluid moves in and out of the body, okay, and how electrolytes play a part in how the body works, okay. So before all of this, before we even dive into any of the disease processes, okay, we're going to talk about fluid and electrolytes and acid-base balance. Okay, we're going to talk about the normal, how does fluid normally run through the body? what are the normal electrolytes? What do electrolytes do? Why do we care about them? Acid-base imbalance. Okay. I mean, acid-base balance, same thing. What do they do with the body and why do we care what they do? Okay. With every chapter, with every disease process, okay, we're going to have a quick review of A&P because I know you guys don't remember 100% of everything that you learned last semester because I didn't either when I was in nursing school, okay? So we're going to review A&P, okay, before we do the disease process so you get your mind kind of thinking along those lines, okay, where your mind needs to be, okay? We're going to go over the nursing process with that particular disease process. Okay. What do you do in an assess if you have somebody with, say, hypertension? Okay. What are you going to assess for? Okay. What are you going to be some of your nursing diagnoses? Okay. What are you going to be, what's going to be your interventions for that patient? Okay. What are you going to evaluate for those patients? As well as we're going to go over lab work. Okay. What lab is pertinent or is, what lab work is going to matter to that particular disease process. Okay. And how are you going to teach the patient about that particular disease process? Okay. And if the patient has questions about that disease process, how are you going to answer that? Okay. We're going to go over all that in one chapter. Okay. So like I said, this is more about the disease processes. Okay. And specifically cardiovascular, lymphatic, immune functioning. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. So that's just part of this class. Okay. Let's see. Is anybody talking to Emily Smith? Do they know like what's going on with her?
I was talking to her on the phone. Every time she tries to connect the audio, it just kicks her out of the group altogether.
Okay.
Sorry for my
Is she
daughter.
on her phone or is she, do you know if she's on her phone or is she on a laptop?
She's on a desktop computer.
Okay.
Oh, my video just went out too. What just happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you too.
My entire screen just went black.
I don't know, like I stopped sharing the screen, so that might be, but.
Well, I can't see anything on my screen.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to reset my computer, I guess.
Yeah, if you guys,
what happened?
I know, it's okay. I stopped sharing, let me make sure one participant can share at a time. Let me make sure, can share, nope, that's it, okay. All right, uninstall. Why is Adobe coming up? Oh, I don't want this. What the heck? Hold on, guys. Poor
I got it to work.
Huh?
All I had to
You got
do
it?
was Control Alt Delete and just in my taskbar, but now everything's kind of blurry. I don't know what's going on with my computer.
I don't know. Okay, because can everybody else see me? Is Ashlyn not? Okay, so everybody else can see me? Okay. I don't know. Let's see. I can see you, Ashlyn, and I can hear you. I
can see. It's just everything's kind of blurry. I'm sorry, my daughter's yelling in the back. Everything is just like blurry, but I guess I'll just try to reset my computer.
Yeah, if you need to log off, that's okay. I understand. Like if you need to log off and reset and reboot and all that kind of stuff, that's okay too. Okay, I understand technical issues sometimes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. I think Emily's okay. And there's Bridget. Okay, Bridget must have got kicked off too. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right, so where was it? Okay, so we had the A&P. Okay, we're talking about the disease process. Okay, So now we're going to be talking. So now that, like I said, that's just part of this class. We're also going to have a short part of the class that's going to be dedicated to mental health. Okay. That's going to include 30 hours of theory. Okay. So it's going to be mostly, it's going to be happening, I think, in like the late, like March. Okay. Where we're going to be talking about mental health. Okay. And mental health nursing and all the different mental health disease processes, okay, and the interventions, the nursing interventions for those disease processes, okay. Again, not sure about mental health clinical, not sure about that, not sure if we're going to be able to go into the facilities or not. I know a lot of the mental health facilities right now are super strict with COVID regulations and that sort of thing. But again, as soon as I hear information about that, I will let you guys know. I know last semester we went to North Lake in Covington. I think that's the name of it, North Lake. Yeah, North Lake. And then the year before that, we went to the state hospital in Jackson. Okay. But again, that was all pre-COVID. So we'll have to see kind of what they're going to allow us to do, because Dean Marceau wants you guys to get as much clinical exposure as possible. So if there's a way, if there's a will, there's going to be a way, okay, to get y'all into the clinical site. Okay. But yeah, so mental health is actually part of this program, the PN1 program. Okay, so we'll talk about it. We'll talk about mental health in lecture, and hopefully we'll get to able to do a little bit of clinical. Okay. Does anybody have any questions so far? No. Okay. Let's see. All right. So let me slip back. Share my screen again. Ashlyn. Okay, there's Ashlyn. Okay. Let's talk. Let's back to the Zoom. Okay. All right. So back to the syllabus. Okay. So these are some of the learning objectives. I'm not going to bore the heck out of you with all that. Just kind of look over them and just kind of gives you a more detailed explanation than I did. Okay. Mental health theory. Okay. Again, these are some objectives we're going to have in mental health. Okay. Again, you have to get, like same as last semester, you have to pass this class with an 80% in order to successfully complete the course. Okay. So you have to have an 80%. Okay. Textbooks that, well, theory, it says, theory grades will be based upon unit exams, quizzes. Don't pay attention to that. Comprehensive midterm, we're not going to have that. That's old. I'm going to have to get rid of that. We're not going to have a comprehensive midterm. Okay. But we will have a comprehensive final exam. Okay. So the final exam will be comprehensive, covering everything from the beginning of class. Okay. That includes mental health. Okay. Assigned ATI modules and practice exams. Okay. The ATI proctored exam and written classwork and homework assignments. Okay. This semester, Dean Marceau and all the other leads for the program want us to start grading the ATI proctored exam. They want the ATI proctored exam to be worth a grade of some sort. Before, we would just give it to you guys, you take it, and that was it. But now they want us to actually grade it so that students can start taking it a little bit more seriously and really focusing in on ATI. Okay.
I have a question, Ms. Adams.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Will you be counting the ATI grade as like a homework grade or an exam grade?
It's going to be a homework grade. It's going to be an assignment grade. Okay. Now,
right.
When you get to your senior level, okay, it's going to be worth an exam grade. Okay. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay. But for right now, it's going to be worth an assignment grade.
Alrighty. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see, back to sharing screen. Let's see. Okay. So, yeah, so ATI proctored exam, and then I will also be, in addition to actually going over the content for PN1, okay, the disease processes and everything like that, I will also be adding some ATI content into the lecture as well. So you guys can be prepared for both the exam that I'll be giving you, the regular exam and the ATI exam too. Okay, because sometimes ATI and the DeWitt book, the MedSurg book, are a little bit different. Okay, so I'm going to be tackling both things. Okay, both the ATI and the DeWitt. Okay, and if there's a discrepancy between any item between DeWitt and the ATI, I will let you know. Okay, and I will tell you what's going to be expected, what you're going to be expected to answer on the test. Okay, whether I'm going to go with the ATI response or whether I'm going to go with the DeWitt response, I will let you know. You will know. Okay. Textbooks is going to be your DeWitt textbook. Okay, so your MedSurg nursing. I'm going to stop sharing. Everybody should have this book or is getting this book. Okay, this is going to be your book from here till you graduate. Okay, you'll need it for PN2. You'll need it for PN3 as well. Okay, this is kind of what it looks like. Okay. The other book is going to be your, it's going to be by the author's name is Gorman. This is going to be your mental health. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me give you let's see. Let me show you what it looks like.
I have it right here if you want to look on my screen.
Yeah, you do. Great. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Ashlyn. That's what it looks like. Okay. Yeah, I left mine at campus and they won't let us on campus yet. So that's why I don't have it. I have it online, but I don't have it physically. Okay. But that's what it looks like. Okay. So that is going to be the text that you're going to need for mental health. Okay. And the first day of mental health is going to be, let's see, hold on, I can tell you that right now. Your first day of mental health is going to be March the 9th, okay, which is going to be a Tuesday, okay? So that's going to be your first day of mental health, okay? So make sure you have that textbook. If you don't have it already, make sure you have it by March the 9th, okay? All right, going back. Going to be an easier way to do this. Okay, hold on. All right. Okay, going back to the syllabus. Okay, so we're going over the textbooks, supplies and equipment. Okay, you already have your ATI access license. Okay, that's given to you by the school. Okay, so, and I think you guys all did the foundations exam, the foundations proctored exam with Miss Borders last semester. So you should have ATI access. Okay, if you don't, please let me know. Or if you have trouble with it, please let me know. Uniforms as per standard, as per current student handbook. Stethoscope you will not need for PN1. I don't know why they put that in there. And then supply tote provided, which you'll need for clinical. Okay. Let's see. In the event of instruction interruption, remote learning options will be utilized. Okay. So like right now we're in the safe start mode, or, you know, when hurricanes come or whatever. Okay. This is why they put this. This is new as far as the syllabus is concerned. Okay. The school, the technical college wants you to have these things: Respondus lockdown browser. Okay. And, so in the Respondus lockdown browser is going to be used for testing and quizzes and that sort of thing. Okay. In the event that we cannot go to campus. Okay. For some particular reason, like right now, You know, if I were to give you an exam, okay, which I'm hopefully giving you your first exam is going to be on February 2nd, the day that you can go, the day that we are scheduled to go back to campus. Okay. So hopefully I won't have to give any exams on Respondus or Lockdown, but you need to have it downloaded and ready to go in the event that we will need it. Okay. Let's see. And then I will be given some quizzes with it as well. So you definitely need to have it. Okay. And again, this is like to deter cheating and that sort of thing. Okay. Cause you'll need a webcam. Okay. You'll need a reliable Wi-Fi. Okay. And you'll need a browser. And here are all the different, system requirements and that sort of thing. This is the link to download it. Okay. Which you also have on Canvas, which I will be showing you in a minute. Okay. This is the type of memory. This is what we got from IT. This is what they told us, that the kind of memory that you needed to have to be able to download and have this on your computer. Okay. Did you guys work in Respondus or Lockdown last semester? You did. Okay. So you should all pretty much have it downloaded. Okay. Already. But if you don't, you have issues with it, let me know. Okay. Going back. All right. So attendance policy. Wonderful, beautiful attendance policy. Okay. Basically, it says it's the student's responsibility to maintain regular contact with instructors. Class attendance is the responsibility of the student. Okay. Let's see. If any absence occurs, it's the student's responsibility of the student for making up exams, obtaining lecture notes, and compensating for what they missed. Okay. We're going to be going over makeup exams later on. I'll be telling you about that. Let's see. Online students must actively participate in the online courses to be considered making progress. Okay. Hybrid students, which means half face-to-face and half online. Okay. When the day comes that we're able to go to campus, okay, you must attend face-to-face as well as complete the online and assignments. Okay. Any kind of, if you need to miss class for some reason, okay, you can miss 10%. Okay, North Shore allow, and the board as well, it's mostly the board, allows you to miss 10%, okay, of your hours. Okay, so but it has to be an excused absence as well. Okay, so if you know that you're going to be missing class, okay, you need to let me know. Okay, you need to email me and say, Miss Adams, I will not be in class due to my kid's doctor's appointment, my doctor's appointment, okay, whatever. Okay, you just need to let me know. Okay, but if you miss more than 10%, okay, then that's a problem. Okay, and we can't promise that you're going to be able to progress to the next semester because that is mandated by the board, that you have to get so many lecture hours in before you can even sit for the NCLEX exam. Okay. Any questions there?
Does that include like if a person got COVID?
Well, no, if a person got COVID, then they can be online. Then they'll be online. Okay. It depends how, I guess it would depend on how the COVID, like if the COVID has you in bed and you can't do anything, okay, then that's something different, but if you can get online, then you're expected to get online.
Are we doing the ABC groups again? Like, are we gonna be
Not sure. I got to check with Miss Lott.
Okay.
Okay. hopefully, it is my hope that we can get all of you, at one time, but I'll have to check with her. Is if we can be on campus, I want us to be on campus. Okay. Cause I figure since I've been doing this for almost a year now, I find that the students do better in the classroom. Okay. When they're in physical class than they do online. Okay. So if the opportunity arises to get on campus, we're going to be on campus. Okay. But like I said, the ABC thing, I need to check with Miss Lott and see, what they're going to allow us to do, that sort of thing. So as soon as I know, I'll let y'all know. Okay. Let's see. Going back. Okay. So, it says make sure your students should frequently check Canvas because that's where pretty much everything is going to be. Okay, that is where all your assignments are going to be housed. That is where all your quizzes are going to be housed. Everything is going to be on Canvas. Okay, so you should be checking Canvas at a minimum of twice a day while you're in school. Okay, if you don't have the notifications, you need to get those on your phone or whatever. Okay, I know there's a way to do that. But so that whenever I put out an assignment or I put anything out on Canvas, you get a notification on your phone saying you need to check Canvas, you have a new announcement, you have a new assignment, what have you. Okay, so make sure you get those notifications turned on. Okay. Let's see, grading requirements. Okay, so this is how the grading, pretty much the same as last semester. Your exams are going to be worth 60%. Your final is going to be worth 30%. Okay, and the miscellaneous assignments such as the proctored tests, the remediation assignments, quizzes, participation will be in the 10%. Okay, it says in the event of instruction interruption, additional assignments, that means like if a hurricane comes or we go in, God forbid, hopefully not, but we go into another COVID mess. Okay. It says additional assignments and grades for those assignments that may be possible and necessary during remote learning may be added to replace other traditional means of instruction. Okay. Which means you may have extra things to do in ATI, or you may have an online project that you have to do. Okay, so this will be in the event of instruction interruption. Okay, does that make sense? Any questions there? Emily, you made it. Emily Smith, you made it.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. Finally, okay. I'm so sorry you had so much trouble. I don't know what the issue was. Okay. It just said it wouldn't let you in, like every time you tried to come in. Okay. That's weird, but you're here now. And like I said before, all my Zooms are going to be recorded and they're going to be put on my YouTube channel. Okay. So anything that you missed, you can go back to my YouTube channel and you'll see my recording for the day. Okay. So anything that you missed. All right. But we just been talking about the syllabus, nothing. We haven't talked about anything crazy. Okay. All right. So I'm glad you're here. Okay. Let's see. Grading scale, you guys know it. All right. 94 to 100. You know, the wonderful, wonderful grading scale. Okay. Got to get an 80% at least, okay, to pass the class. Grades aren't rounded, unfortunately, okay. I was at Southeastern in nursing school, okay, and yes, I failed a semester of nursing school, and I am a teacher. I actually failed Med-Surg 1, okay, PN 1, and it had mental health in it, and I think my grade was a 79.80 something. No go. I failed. Okay. So I had to take that whole semester over again. No rounding. And that 0.2% has haunted me forever and ever and ever, but it is what it is. You know, I learned a lot. I went and I worked in the ER at Our Lady of the Lake, and I got some clinical experience because I didn't have any clinical experience when I went into nursing school. So, and I couldn't take anything else. I just had to take that class. They would not let me progress and take any other class. So I just had to take that class. So I went, worked in the ER, and it worked out for me. It worked out actually in my favor. I got to see a lot and learn a lot. But I know about failing. Okay. Oh, she got kicked out, Emily. No, that's you, Emily. Why is it saying admit you again? I don't know. That's weird. Okay. Zoom is cracked today. I don't know what's the problem. Okay. But yeah, so I know about failing. Okay. Hopefully that will not happen to any of you this semester. Okay. Everybody's going to pass and we're going to all do well. Okay. But I do know the struggle, and I went to Southeastern, the School of Hard Knocks. Okay. So I definitely know about nursing school and the struggle. Okay. So I will make it as best and pleasant as I can, but I still want y'all to be prepared for NCLEX, okay? Because if you're not prepared for NCLEX, this is all for nothing, okay? And I don't want you guys wasting a year and a half of your time, your blood, sweat, and tears, okay, for nothing, okay? So that's why I'm going to make sure you're prepared, okay? And I had a rough semester last semester with my group. Okay. I'm not going to lie. Okay. It was a rough semester. We just didn't jive. I didn't jive with them as an instructor. They didn't jive with me as students. Okay. But communicate what I learned. Okay. Because I learned something from every single semester. I wasn't perfect. Okay. So I take every semester, I take what I did and I try to apply it to next semester, or didn't do, okay, in that semester. And I found that communication was huge, okay. I thought that they knew things that they didn't know, and they didn't communicate with me, and I didn't communicate with them, okay. So communication is going to be huge for me this semester, okay. I am going to communicate everything that I know. Okay. And if there is something that you don't know or you don't understand, please communicate that to me. Okay. Whether it be through email, whether it be on here, whether it be Miss Adams, I need to make a Zoom meeting with you. I need to talk to you about something. That's fine. I'm more than willing to do whatever it takes to get you guys to be successful. Okay. Because that is originally my goal, for you guys to be successful. So communication is going to be huge. Sometimes I tend to talk out of my butt and I say things that people don't understand. So say, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. Okay, that's okay. I'm not going to hold offense to that. I promise. I promise. Just raise your hand and say, I have no idea what you just said. Okay, that's okay. I will answer it for you. I will simplify it as much as I can. Okay. All right. So back to the syllabus. Okay. Let's see, academic integrity and conduct. Okay, I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here. Just know that, you are in this program, you are expected to abide by the rules, the PN handbook rules about academic integrity and conduct. Okay, and behavior that violates these standards is not acceptable. Plagiarism, cheating, and other forms of academic dishonesty are prohibited. Okay. I will tell you, if I see you cheating during a test, okay, I will ask you to leave. Okay. I will take your paper, I will take your pencil, and I will say, please leave class. Okay. I do not tolerate cheating, especially in front of me. Okay. If I see you, it's going to be bad. Okay. It's going to be super bad. And Miss Lott and Dean Marceau are also very, very intolerant of cheating. Extremely intolerant of cheating. Okay. So just don't do it. Okay. It's not worth it. I promise. It's not worth it. Okay. All right. Going back. So that's my spiel on that. Let's see. Student behavior, classroom decorum. Again, you're encouraged and expected to discuss, inquire, and express thoughts and views during class. Okay. Respectfully. Okay. Respectfully and professionally. This is a professional environment. Okay. Just like it would be if you were at work. Okay. So we all treat each other with respect. We don't tell people that's a stupid question. We don't roll our eyes when somebody asks a question that you may know the answer to. Okay. We be respectful of everybody. Not everybody learns the same. Not everybody learns at the same speed. Okay. So everybody needs to have respect for everybody else. Okay. I'm asking you to please, when you're in class, either online or physical, okay, to put your cell phones on silent. I understand a lot of you have children, okay, and you have family obligations. I understand that, okay. If you need to leave class or you need to leave the Zoom meeting, turn off your camera and go answer your phone and go take care and come back, okay. Please don't leave your camera on. Please don't leave your microphone on, okay. Just do it in a respectful way. Okay, that's all I ask. Okay, like I said, I know everybody has family issues and they have children and obligations and that sort of thing. I just can't have them. I can't have kids or pets. Okay, at that matter. Okay, not that kids and pets are the same thing. I know they're not. Okay, but I can't have distractions when I'm teaching. Okay. So if your kids are being disruptive or, they're mama, okay, take your camera off, go take care of what they need and come back. Okay. Same thing. Like, okay, the first time I taught, okay, I have a dog that I think has Alzheimer's. Okay. And she barks at every single thing that comes in front of the house, no matter what it is, who it is. So I had to go into this room and close my door because she's loud when she barks. Okay. And it's disruptive. Okay. And as much as I love puppy dogs and I love cats and I love animals and I love kids too, but they're distracted. Okay. And we can't have distractions when we have an online class. Okay. Is that clear to everybody? Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay. All right. So everybody, and again, everybody's got to be dressed in their uniform, whether or not we're online, okay, or we are at school, okay. Dean Marceau is really under the school of thought that if you would not do it in the physical class, you cannot do it on the online class, okay. So if you were to, you would have to go to physical class. You'd have to have your uniform on. You're expected to do that when you're on online class. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. So just remember, if you wouldn't do it in physical class, don't do it on the online environment. Okay. Disability, okay, those of you that if you have an issue with a disability, please make sure you register with Student Affairs or get in contact with Miss April Laverne. Excuse me, she's the ADA contact for the Hammond campus. If you are unsure if you may need accommodations that you think you need accommodations for, please see her. Okay, please see Miss April Laverne and ask her. Okay, I've had numerous students in the past, okay, that could have benefited from having extra time for an exam. Something as simple as just extra time for an exam, okay? But they didn't register with the ADA and they didn't go see Miss April Laverne, so I had to give them the regular time like everybody else. You've got to be registered with them before I can give you any kind of accommodations for testing, okay? So if this is something that you think you need, it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to find out, okay? Like when I was in school, they didn't have any of this, okay? I wish I would have known about it when I was in school because I definitely would have asked for it, okay? So it's a resource for all you guys. If you guys need it, it's there. So think about it. If she says, no, you're not eligible, then you're not eligible, okay? But it doesn't hurt to ask. Okay, it could be a difference between you making a C or D, if you need that extra time for an exam. Okay, think about it. Think about it if you need it. Okay, or if you don't know if you need it or not, she would be the one to decide if you did need it or not. Okay, so it's something to think about. Okay, let's see, withdrawal policy. Okay, the last day to withdraw from the college or resign is April the 2nd. Okay. You have to do that in Lola. I can't do it for you. Okay. If you don't do it, if you don't resign, okay, and you don't come to class and you drop out and you stop coming to tests and stuff like that, you're going to receive a failing grade for that course, for this course, if you do not withdraw. Okay. So, and again, I can't do that for you. You have to do that yourself. Okay. April.
What day did you say?
I'm sorry.
What day did you say that was again?
April the 2nd. April the 2nd. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so communication. Okay, like I said, communication is going to be huge for me this semester. I only communicate through email, okay, unless there is a clinical emergency. I did put my cell phone number on the syllabus, okay, but that is only for clinical emergencies, okay. That is if you wake up in the morning and it's a clinical day and your child is sick and you have no one to take care of him or her, or if you're sick and you think you may have COVID, or if you have flu-like symptoms, that is when you are to text me and say, Miss Adams, my kid is sick. I think I have a fever of 101.0. I have chills, shakes. I am not feeling good. I will not be able to make it to clinical. Okay. That is the only time that I want you guys to text me. Okay. Anything else, I need you to use your northshorecollege.edu account, your email account. Okay. And if you have not signed up for email yet, okay, you need to go do that immediately. Okay. On the home page of the NTC's website, they have a YouTube video of how to get your student email, okay, and how to go about accessing it and that sort of thing. So if you haven't done that, I need you to do that, okay, because that is the only way I will communicate with you. I don't do personal emails. I only do North Shore emails. I only communicate with North Shore emails. Okay, everybody understand that? Anybody have questions about that? Okay. All right. All right. I think we're coming to the end here. Copyright. That's just, making sure you follow all copyright laws and that sort of thing. Okay. They just got to put that in there. Netiquette policy. Okay. This is how this is kind of like your etiquette for online class or web assignments or that sort of thing. Okay. It says, remember the following when communicating online: messages, discussion board, online class. Okay. Never post profanity, racist, or sexist messages. Be respectful of fellow students and instructors. Never insult any person or their message content. Never plagiarize or publish intellectual property. Okay. And that goes along with the copyright and the cheating, and the academic honesty. Okay. Do not use text messaging abbreviations or slang. Okay. Or try to refrain. I know in this day and age, abbreviation is huge, but just again, this is a professional setting. Okay. We have to keep it professional. Okay. And do not type in all caps. This is considered online yelling. Okay. So just remember those things. Okay. And just be respectful of each other. Okay. Be respectful of me as your instructor. I will be respectful of you as my students, and just be respectful of each other. Okay. So let's take about a 5-minute break. Okay. Go to the bathroom, get you a drink, get a little something, because I'm also a big break person. Okay. Because I can't sit for an hour and just sit here and do nothing and listen. So I will be given frequent breaks, because I find that successful. So take about a 5-minute break, come back in 5 minutes, and we'll go over and we'll go over the modules and that sort of thing. Okay. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the modules. Let's see. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so here are your modules in Canvas. Okay, so I've divided each module here. Okay, we're gonna go over each and every module. Okay, so this first module is your NTCC course information. Okay, and in each module, okay, I did a page and it's called About This Module. Okay, so if you click on this, okay, it tells you everything that's in this course module. Okay, tips for success in this class, important college dates such as holidays, drop dates, etc., and test dates. It says coming soon, but I've put those up. Okay, so let's go back to module. Okay, so that your test dates, okay, and your course chapter outline, okay, are going to be in your course information. Okay, your course chapter outline, here it is. Okay, these are all the chapters and the outline that we're going to do. Okay, so today is just going to be, you know, syllabus, calendar overview, test taking skills. I wanted to do that, but Miss Lott is going to be having a webinar, an ATR webinar for you guys in February on test taking. So I'm going to push that back, and that is going to be on February 11th. Okay, from 9 to 12. It's going to be a clinical day, but it will count as clinical hours. Okay, if that changes in any way, shape, or form, I will let you guys know. Okay, but that's going to be on February 11th. It's going to be a test taking webinar. Okay, on how to take tests specifically for ATI. Okay, and in general, critical thinking, that sort of thing. Okay, but it's mostly going to be geared to ATI and NCLEX test taking. Okay, so that's going to be on February 11th. Okay, so that's why I had it here, because I was going to go over it, but since you guys are going to have a webinar on it, I decided to take it off. Study skills, we're going to go over that a little bit. ATI study skills, how to study for ATI, and my class in general. Okay, we're going to go over that a little bit tomorrow as well, because that's going to go along with your learning style assessment too that I put in your modules, which we'll go over in a bit. Okay, but this is your course chapter outline. Okay, the DeWitt is going to be your med surge. The Gorman, okay, if it has Gorman in parentheses, that is going to be your mental health book. Okay, so as you can see, mental health is kind of a lot of the students last semester were saying that they wanted the mental health to be more, to chop up the med surge a little bit, you know, to kind of keep it, to kind of keep it interesting. So that's why we kind of, you know, put mental health chopped up. Normally mental health would be at the end of the semester, but we got a lot of student feedback saying that they wanted it more towards the middle of the semester. So we're going to see how that works this semester. But these are all your chapters, okay, your med surge and your mental health chapters. Any questions here? No questions there. Okay. Let's see. Going back. All right, so going back to the modules. Okay. Let's see, important notes. Again, these are just some tips and tricks to prepare for the class. Okay. You know, just make sure you read your syllabus. Plan. Okay. Planning is going to save you, and, you know, it's really going to help you to succeed. So make sure you plan when you're going to spend time preparing and completing assignments for the class. Try to work on assignments early. Okay. I know me being a last minute person. Okay. I'm trying, that's my New Year's resolution though. I'm trying not to do everything last minute and trying to work on things early. Okay. But you want to try to do your assignments as early as possible. Okay. Do not be afraid to ask questions. Like I told you guys before, I love questions. Love, love, love them. Okay. Can't get enough of them. So if I don't know, but I don't know everything. Okay. I'm going to say I don't know everything, but if I don't know anything, I will ask. Okay. I will find out and I will let you guys know. Okay. But I also don't want you guys to take offense when I tell you guys to look something up. Okay. Because that is part of your learning. Okay. Finding things and looking things up is going to help you to learn these concepts and these, these procedures and that sort of thing better. Okay. It's better when you do, you do it yourself and you remember it a lot better. Okay. But if you can't find it and you're like, Miss Adams, I looked everywhere, I cannot find it, I will tell you. Okay. I'm not going to let you drown. I'm not going to just say, oh, well, you just don't know. Okay. I will let you know, but I want you to try and find it for yourself first, and then I will help you. Okay. And you will get the answer. I promise. Okay. Either on your own or from me. Okay. So just don't be offended if I say, go ahead, go look in your book, go look it up, look what you can find. And if you can't find it, let me know. Okay. All right. That's part of the learning process. And that's going to help you in your nursing career. Okay. Jamming out. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So says, I strongly encourage you to be concerned about your grade throughout the semester. Like I said before, if you need to talk to me on a personal, on an individual level, we can do that. Okay. We can either meet on campus or we can meet via Zoom. That's fine. I will make it work. Okay. I will get with you if you have any concerns about anything. Okay. Also remember, you guys all have PIPAs, okay, too as well. Okay. So if there's some reason you don't like what I'm telling you, or you don't get me, or I don't know, something that you can't, but for some reason you can't feel like you can't come to me with, then there's always your PIPA. And there's also Miss Lott, okay, who is a lead instructor. Okay. She is my boss. She is above me. Okay. So if that's the chain of command, okay, if you guys have any issues, that is the chain of command. Okay. But I will try to answer whatever questions and help you in any way that I can. Okay. That's my goal for this semester. Okay. So don't feel like I'm a very approachable person. I really am. Okay. And like I said, my goal is your success. Okay. Is your success in this program and you passing PN1 and passing NCLEX as well and becoming a LPN. That is my goal. Okay. So I am planning and to meet my goal this semester. Okay. And ensuring all of you a successful semester. Okay. So come to me, feel free, say, I don't understand. I don't get what you're telling me here. What am I doing wrong? This is what I'm doing. What's going on? Help me. Okay. That's fine. I will do that. I will absolutely do that. Okay. But of course, don't wait until May the 10th. Okay. And say, Miss Adams, I'm failing. I don't know what to do. Okay. That's kind of like, that's last minute, and I'm kind of limited as to how I can help you at that point. Okay. So you know, when you want to come to me early if you're finding you're going down that slope. Okay. You don't want to get in a hole that you cannot get out of. Okay. Let me help you out of the hole, but I can't help you 2 days before the final. Okay. When you have a 58% in the class. Okay. Don't let it get that bad. Don't let it get to that. Come to me before and say, my last 2 grades were failing grades. I don't know how I'm going to do this. What do I need to do? Okay. Don't let it get to that point. Okay. All right. Any questions there? Any comments? Any issues? Okay. All right. All right. Let's see. So those are just some tips and tricks. Okay. So we're going to go back to the module. All right. The not so fun dates, test dates. Okay. So I have all the test dates laid out. Okay. Here. Come on, Canvas. All right. Now, I say this too. All dates are subject to change and are tentative. Okay. So these dates may change to a later date. They will never be an earlier date. I promise. Okay. It'll be a later date. Okay. I have talked to Miss Trailer, who is going to be your pharmacology instructor. Okay. And we have gone through all of these dates together and make sure that you guys do not have a form test and a PN1 test on the same day. Okay. To help from your brain exploding on that day. Okay. So if I give a test, Miss Trailer will have lecture. If she gives a test, then I will have lecture that day. Okay. You will not have the test. You will not have the exam on the same day. All right. Okay. Let's see. And we've been working, me and Miss Trailer have been working together for about 1.5 years now, and we have a really good relationship. And, you know, so if I need to move things back, I'll move things back. If she needs to move things back, we'll move things back. Okay. We'll make it work for you guys. Okay. So these are going to be all of your test dates. Okay. Like I said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, is this underneath your syllabus? Because I can't see like the screen that you're sharing. It's all really blurry.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the syllabus. It's going to
Okay.
be under course information, and it's going to have test dates.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right. So let's go back. Sometimes Zoom's it takes a little while for it to clear up a little bit. Okay. So yeah, so I'll go back to that. So that's going to be modules, Ashlyn, and it's going to be under the NTCC course information, and then it's going to be test date. Okay. So you're going to click on that and it'll bring you to all your test dates. Okay. But like I said, they're subject to change. Okay. But if they change, they'll be like a day behind, you know, they'll never be before that date. Okay. So here are all your test dates. Okay. And again, I'll have multiple reminders. Okay. You have your test on February 2nd. I'll say it in class and I'll put an announcement the day before. I'll say, okay, test tomorrow at North Shore, online, whatever. Okay. My hope is that we have all of our tests on campus. Okay. And I know that's Dean Marceau's hope as well, because she is not a big fan of online testing. Okay. She would much rather have you guys on campus. Okay. So that is my hope at this time. Okay. But again, I will let you know more details when I get information on that. Okay. All right. So those are all the test dates. Okay. February 2nd. February 17th. So you have a little bit of lag time here. Okay, this is going to be your fluid and electrolytes. And I believe it's pain. Chapter 7 is pain. Let me make sure of that. Yes. Okay, so fluid and electrolytes and pain are going to be on February the 2nd. Okay, and then you're going to have a little lag time. Okay, and then you're going to have your surgery exam. Okay. And then this is all cardiovascular. Okay, 17, 18, 19, 17, 18, 19, and 20. This is all cardiovascular. So that's gonna, because cardiovascular is such a massive system, we break it up, okay, into 3 different tests, okay? So, and then you have your mental health, okay? That's gonna be your test for your mental health, March 15th. So when you have mental health, you'll have a test pretty much every week, okay? And then we go back to med surge after the 12th, and then we'll have you will finish med surge, and then you'll have your comprehensive final, which is everything from day 1, including med surge. Including mental health. Okay, that's going to be on the 6th, and then you're going to have your ATI proctored exam on the 11th, and you're going to have your ATI and proctored mental health exam on the 12th. Okay, and my hope is that you guys can be on campus for these as well too. Okay, any questions there? And again, there'll be multiple reminders. Okay, I'll say it in class, I'll put announcements up. Okay, but you may want to jot those dates in your calendar and put them on your calendar so you can at least know, okay, these are how many days I have to study. Okay, plan it out. Planning is the best thing. Okay. All right. Back to the module. So that's test dates. Okay. That's all your course info stuff. Okay. Tips and tricks, chapter course outline, and test dates. Okay. And again, the college dates are going to be, it's just basically your holidays and when you're going to be off and that sort of thing. As far as Mardi Gras, you guys will be off on the Monday and the Tuesday. Okay. Campus will be open on Monday, but closed on Tuesday. But you guys will not have class Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now we get into this wonderful online student orientation that NTCC wants of all their students every semester. Okay. They, like I said, they want you to do a Canvas orientation every single semester. Okay, so go through these. You can just kind of flip through them if you know it. Okay, it's just their references. Okay, but they want us to have it on the modules, on the Canvas modules to reference if you need to. Okay, how to do discussions. Okay, because I'm going to have a lot of discussion questions this semester. I normally put a discussion question a week, okay, on the chapter or the topics that we're covering, okay? So you will have to post to the discussion board, okay? So that gives you instructions on how to do that, okay? And that will be part of your participation grade is posting on the discussion board and answering the discussion questions. Okay. And then we'll go over that discussion question in class as well. And I'll say, okay, well, so a lot of people put this for, they put this in their discussion question, and that's very right. Or that's not really the way we want to go. And this is why. Okay. So we will discuss that discussion question in class. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Okay, Respondus orientation. Okay, they want to make sure you guys have Lockdown Browser and Respondus. And I actually put in a practice exam worth 10 points, okay, that is going to require you to have Lockdown Browser and webcam. Okay, and that's going to be due tomorrow. They're silly questions. Okay, they're not hard questions. Okay, it's just to make sure that your Respondus monitor, your Respondus, and your Lockdown Browser are working. Okay, it's questions like, what are the school colors? What's the mascot? Okay, super easy questions. Okay, so it's just basically a quiz to make sure that your Respondus and Lockdown are working. Okay, and it's going to be worth 10 points. It's going to be an assignment. So easy peasy 10 points right off the bat. Okay. So if there's a problem with your Respondus, okay, or your lockdown browser, you need to let me know because we need to get that fixed. Okay. Any questions about that? That's going to be due tomorrow at midnight. I think I'm opening the practice exam at 3 o'clock today after your pharmacology course. So you should be able to get into that course at 3 o'clock today. And it's going to be due by midnight on tomorrow. Okay. Any problems, just let me know. Email me and let me know. Okay. All right. Back to the module. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So this is all NTCC learner support. Okay. And this is all just basically a resource and reference module. Okay. It has all the links to all the different support services. Okay. Such as help desk. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Somebody have a question? Okay. So I'll mute Jamaica. Okay. Let's see. Share screen. Go back. All right. So it has all the links to the different, technology support, help desk, Gator Mail, Canvas, your student orientate. It's just another link for Canvas, student orientation, Respondus lockdown browser and monitor link. Okay. If you have, again, it's all this is all basically reference material, okay, and help material, okay. It has a link to disability services. It has a link to the web accessibility policy to make sure if you have accessibility issues, this is the link that you'll go to find out any kind of additional information. Okay, so basically a resource tab. That's all this is. NTCC support services. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. Okay. Minimal technical skills and requirements. Okay, this is found in multiple places. Okay, but this is just one of the tabs that it's found. Okay, so these are the skills that you'll be required. Okay, that you have to do at a minimum. Okay, and this is the technology requirements. But again, you also have that in the syllabus as well. Okay, and this is a link to tech support. So if there's anything technically, okay, technology related, okay, that this is where you need to go and put in a help desk ticket, and they will get back to you. Okay, and if they don't, you need to let me know. Okay, back to modules, because I'm not a technology person, so I will not be able to answer probably a good bit of your technology questions, but I will find out. Okay, let's see. So that's NTCC learner support. Okay, again, these are all just reference. This is a reference module. Okay, but NTCC wants us to put it in there so that you guys can go reference back to it if you need to. Okay, so this is the meat and potatoes. This is where we're getting into the nitty gritty of the class. Okay, so this is your module 1. Okay, so every module, okay, is going to be split up into the chapter that you're going to be, or chapters that you're going to be tested on. So each module is going to equal a test, okay, is going to be what you're going to be tested on, okay. So our module 1, okay, is Introductory to Med-Surg and Chapter 3, Fluid and Electrolytes, okay. So like I said before, about this module is going to tell you everything that's in this module, okay. It's going to explain everything that's in this module, okay. So we're going to go over the learning style assignment. Okay, it has the chapter 3 fluid and electrolyte PowerPoints. Okay. And after every bullet point, if I have in parentheses resource, okay, That means it's a resource. Okay, you don't have to do a particular assignment for it. It's just a resource to help you understand the material better. Okay. I use a lot of Sarah RN resources. Okay, this is her website. Okay, she's on YouTube. She also has her own YouTube channel. Okay, I use a lot of her resources. I think she's wonderful. Her voice can be annoying at times, but she does a good job presenting material and getting students to understand it. So if there's something that you're not getting from me or that you don't understand from me, okay, you can go to her website and maybe she may explain it differently and better for you than I do, okay? I also use another reference, Ivy League Nursing, and let's see, I put that on there. I should have that. Yeah, Ivy League Tutoring, actually. And she's really, really good. I use a lot of her references as well, because I find that she explains material well too. Okay, so whatever I use from them, okay, I will put on the module. Okay, so that, like I said, sometimes I'm not doing the trick. You're not getting it from me, okay, and you may need somebody else to explain it to you, okay, and these two ladies do a wonderful job of explaining. So sometimes, and if you don't get it from either one of them, okay, again, you can always come to me and say, Ms. Adams, I don't understand. I don't get what you're telling me. I don't understand this at all, okay, and I will be more than happy to explain it to you in the best way that I know how, okay. All right. Let's see. So this is one isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic. I gotta change that solution. Okay, it's all about fluid balance. We're going to be talking about fluid balances and different fluids and why are fluids used in the hospital? Why do we care about fluids? You know, that kind of thing. Okay, so this is, like I said, this is going to be a resource to help you to understand fluids a little bit better. Active and passive transport animation. I also use a lot of animations as well in my lessons because I find that helps a lot of students if they can visually see it and rather than just hear it. Okay, if they can see it on the screen and they can see it animated and they can see it in full action, it tends to help them to understand the concept better. So I use a lot of animations as well. Okay. Back. All right. So fluid and then I did a fluid and electrolyte tutorial. Again, these are all resources for you. Okay. You don't have to do them. It's just a resource to help you to understand the material better. The difference between osmosis and diffusion. Again, another animation. Okay, I'm gonna go over all of these things in class, but again, if there's something that you're not getting from me, okay, try going to these resources first and seeing if those resources provide anything to you, and if they don't, then come to me and let me know. Okay. So then you have your PN1 DQ discussion question number 1 on fluid and electrolytes. This is, as you can see in parentheses, if I have participation assignment, okay, that means it is an assignment, okay, and you will get points for it, okay. Not necessarily you get points for it, but you have to do it to be able to participate in class. It's an assignment. It's like homework, okay. So this discussion question is going to be due tomorrow at midnight, okay? You're going to answer the discussion question and you're going to post your answer to the discussion board, and we will discuss in class after the due date. So we'll discuss the discussion question on Friday, okay? And if you're not 100% sure and you don't know, okay, about the question, okay, just put that in your discussion answer, okay, say, I'm not sure what NPO means, or I'm not sure exactly how to answer this question, but this is what I'm thinking. Okay, it's okay. It's a discussion. There's right or wrong, okay, but there's not like, I'm not gonna eat your lunch if you say I don't know the answer to this question, okay? So just put that on the discussion question. Say I'm just not familiar. I don't understand. But hopefully when I go over these concepts, you'll kind of say, okay, Miss Adams said this in class, so this is where I think we're going here. Okay. But again, it's discussion, it's having that discussion, it's talking, it's communicating about the subject. Okay.
This isn't graded on right or wrong. It's just what,
It's just what you say.
okay.
It's just that you did it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's what you're going to be graded on.
Okay.
That's what you're going to get. Not graded, but participation. Okay. So like I said, even if you write in the discussion, I don't know. Okay. Or I don't, I'm not sure what I would do for this patient, but because the patient's it looks like the patient's dehydrated, I would probably give them something to drink. It could be something as simple as that. I just want you to participate, okay, and write something and post something on the discussion question, okay? Does that make sense? Did I answer your question there? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the discussion question. That's going to be due tomorrow at midnight, okay? Fluid balance illustration. Okay, this is I'm going to be doing this in class, but I have gotten good feedback on it. It's actually a screen recording of the fluid balance illustration, but again, I'll be doing this in class as well. So again, that's a resource because you see it in parentheses, it says resource, okay? And ABG interpretation, okay, this is going to be another resource. Okay, but I'm going to use her ABG. I'm going to use Ivy League's ABG interpretation in class as well. So I'll be going over that in class. So it says this test is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, February 2nd. So in each about this module, I'll also have the test date as well there as, too. Okay. So a lot, as you can see in this in the module 1, okay, you'll have a lot of, a lot of resources, okay? But if it's an assignment, okay, you'll have this little icon by it, okay? That means it's an assignment, okay? That's PNDQ2. We'll be that's more an acid base. That's discussion. We'll be talking about that later on, okay? But like the PN1 DQ1, that's going to be due on tomorrow at midnight, okay? It's an assignment, okay? So when you see this little thing here, that means it's an assignment, okay? Okay, so going back to, we're going to start at the top, okay? So we're going to talk, before we talk about acid base, fluid balance, anything med-surg related, okay? I'm going to get you guys to do this learning style assignment, okay? And the reason why I do this, okay, it's not to get in your business, okay, but I like to know how everybody learns, okay, so I can make my class, okay, comparable to how you guys learn, okay? So if I know I have more visual learners than auditory learners, I can do more visual stuff. Okay, not to say that I'm not going to do auditory stuff, or not to say that I'm not going to do tactile stuff. Okay, I just know that if I know what learning styles you guys are, I can be able to teach you better. Okay, so I need you to do this assignment. Okay, and we're going to go over it. Okay, so it says this assignment will determine your learning style based on a 20-part questionnaire. Okay, again, super easy, no questions that require a lot of thinking. Okay, you want to answer the first thing that comes into your mind. Don't think too much into it. Okay, I will have a PowerPoint on Monday, January 25th regarding each learning style and study tips for each one that I'm going to go over. Okay, So you're going to take that questionnaire, screenshot your determined learning style, and post it to Canvas as a file upload. Okay. And again, if you need to go back to that module to see, well, how do I do that? Okay. How do I post it to Canvas as a file upload? Okay. So you can go back to this Canvas assignment submission and it will tell you how to do that. Okay. All right, so let's go back. So we're going to go back to that module and explain the learning style. Okay, let's see. And this is an assignment. It'll be worth 5 points. Okay, so I have all the directions laid out for you. Okay, so you're going to go to educationplanner.org. Okay, you're going to go to the Students tab. Go to self-assessments, go to what's your learning style, and then answer the questions. And then it will give you, it'll give you an answer. Okay. It'll say you are, based on what scores you gave. Okay. That based on how you answered these questions, you are an auditory learner. You are a visual learner. You are more so a tactile learner. Okay. So then you're going to take that. Okay. You're going to screenshot that answer that the computer gave you, and you're going to post it to Canvas. Okay. And again, I also have a link. Okay. It says if you need additional help on how to post in Canvas, see Canvas. That's actually not a link. I just put where you can find it. Okay. Canvas student assignment submission and pages. Okay. And it says, please let me know by email if you have any problems or issues. Okay. So I'm going to go over those learning styles on Monday. Okay. And you have until January 22nd at midnight to finish this assignment. Okay. So again, this is both for me and for you. Okay. To determine how you learn. Okay. And I'll have study skills and tips and tricks to learn based on your type of learning style. Okay. Because you need to know how you learn. Okay. To be able to study correctly. Okay. If you're spinning your wheels and you're doing all this studying, but it's not helping you with your, because, based on your learning style, then you're not doing any good to yourself. Okay. You need to know what your learning style is so you can adequately study properly and you don't waste your time. Okay. So that's why I want you guys to do that. Okay. It's a 5-point assignment due Friday at midnight. Any questions there? And again, if you have trouble getting into it or anything like that, email me, let me know. Okay. All right. So that is pretty much all the modules. And again, I did not put in chapter 7 yet. I need to go back and put in the chapter 7 PowerPoint. So there's some things that are going to be missing from this module right now that I'll go back and put in, because chapter 7 will be on your test. And like I said, the modules are divided into the material that's going to be on the test. Okay. Or that you're going to be tested on. Okay. So like I said, the first test is going to be chapters 3 and 7. Okay. But 7's PowerPoint's not in there, and the module information with 7 is not in there yet. So I'm going to work on that tonight and get that in there. Okay. All right. So let's take another 5-minute break. We'll come back and we're going to start chapter 3. Okay. So come back in about 5 minutes. Okay, guys, we're gonna get started here on chapter 3. Okay, I'm gonna pull up the PowerPoint, and chapter 3, if you're following along in your book, okay, chapter 3 starts on page 29. It's called Fluid, Electrolytes, Acid-Base Balance, and IV Therapy. However, we will not be discussing IV therapy because that's going to be more along the lines. Oops, hold on, guys. 1 second. Yeah, okay. That's going to be more along the lines of in your pharmacology class. Okay. So you'll get a little bit more IV therapy there, okay? But we'll discuss the types of solutions that we use because that's gonna kind of tie into fluid balance and that sort of thing. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but we won't go heavily into IV therapy, okay? Okay, can everybody see my slide? Can everybody see the PowerPoint here? See, not now. Okay. Could everybody see it before? Okay, good. Okay. All right. Let's share screen again. There's my Microsoft. Okay. All right. So here we go. All right. Wonderful PowerPoints. I will not PowerPoint you to death in this class. Okay. You're going to have more along. We're going to be doing some Kahoot quizzes as well. I like to do Kahoot to test on to kind of see where your knowledge is on the content. Okay, so we'll do a lot of Kahoot quizzes. We'll be breaking up into groups, into breakout sessions. Okay, so it's not going to be all me talking and you listening. Okay, it's not, and I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to PowerPoint you to death. Okay, so that we'll be doing other things besides PowerPoint. Okay, all right, but let's get started. All right, so fluid and electrolytes, chapter 3. Okay, here are just some theory objectives. Okay, we're going to talk about how fluid performs in the body. Okay, the right fluid balance and the wrong fluid balance. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the body's mechanisms for fluid regulation. Okay, how does the body compensate to regulate fluid? How does the body regulate fluid? Okay. We're going to talk about the 3 ways in which body fluids are continually being distributed among the fluid compartments. Okay, because you have different fluid compartments in the body. You have the intravascular, the intracellular, and the interstitial. We'll go into all that later. Okay. Distinguish the signs and symptoms of various electrolyte imbalances. Okay. We're going to talk about electrolytes more tomorrow. Okay, that's sodium, potassium, magnesium, phosphorus. Okay, those are the sodium and potassium are going to be your big ones. Okay, calcium is going to be another one, but sodium and potassium are going to be your 2 biggies that we're going to really talk about. Okay. Discuss why the older adults have more problems with fluid and electrolyte imbalances. In every single chapter we're going to be talking about, they're going to have older adult considerations, okay, because that's going to be the majority of your population that you're going to be seeing in clinical, okay, is the older adult, the elderly, okay. So each chapter is going to go into a geriatric type consideration for each disease process. Okay, how this particular disease process, okay, whether it be cardiovascular, immune, lymphatic, or fluid imbalance and electrolyte imbalance, how that's going to affect the geriatric client. Okay, so each chapter has a geriatric feature to it. Okay. All right, let's see. Describe the disorders that cause specific fluid and electrolyte imbalance. Okay, so we'll talk about specific disorders that cause fluid and electrolyte imbalance. Okay, compare the major causes of acid-base imbalance. Okay, why do we care about acid-base? That sort of thing. Okay, apply interventions. We're going to talk about interventions to correct an acid-base imbalance. What are we going to do as the nurse? Okay, when a patient has an acid-base imbalance. Okay, we're going to discuss the steps in managing. Actually, we're not going to do that. Okay, because that'll be more IV therapy. So disregard that, because you'll learn that in IV therapy. These last 4, you're going to be learning in IV therapy. So we're not going to be really discussing that. Okay. All right. Let's see. These are some clinical practice objectives that you may, that you want to think about when you go to clinical. Okay. Assessing patients for signs of dehydration. We'll be learning about that in lecture as well. How are you going to assess the patient with either fluid deficiency or fluid overload? Okay. And you're going to apply the knowledge of the normal laboratory values in order to recognize electrolyte imbalances. Okay. Let's see. All right. So we're going to talk about functions of water. Okay. Because water is going to be your major fluid. Okay. That's in the body. Okay. The body is almost half water. Okay. So it's a pretty big component of the body. So you have to know about water and how it works in the body and how it contributes to fluid regulation and how it would contribute to somebody that had a disease process. Okay. So functions of water. What does water do in the body? Okay. It transports. Okay. So it's used as a transportation mechanism. Okay. It regulates heat. Okay. So if a patient, the body temperature goes up in a patient, okay, water helps to cool the body down. Okay. Fluids in water helps to cool the body down. So it's used as a heat regulator. Okay. It maintains hydrogen balance. Okay. That's when we're going to start getting into acid base. Okay. Water is going to maintain that acid balance. Okay. It's going to control how much acid the body, the cells, not the body, but how much acid or hydrogen the body is going to excrete. Okay. Or how much hydrogen or acid the cells are going to take in. Okay. Water is going to regulate that. It's going to maintain that. Okay. And it's also a medium, okay, for the enzymatic action of digestion. Okay. So it helps as, when I say a medium, okay, it helps as like a foundation. Think of a medium as a foundation. Okay. So it's basically, it's going to help to, it's going to create that foundation for the enzymatic action of digestion. Okay. How those enzymes are going to relate to digestion. They're going to rely on that water as that foundation. Okay. So those are some functions of water. Okay. It also, functions of water, they're going to distribute and regulate body fluids through thirst mechanism and osmoreceptors. Okay. So in different parts of the body, in different vessels, okay, you're going to have receptors that's cause osmotic receptors. Okay. And when the body fluid gets low, when the water gets low in the body, these osmoreceptors are going to go off like blinking lights. Okay. They're going to say, alert, alert. Okay. Your water level is low. Okay. So those receptors are going to tell certain things in the cell and in the vessel to pull the water into the vessel. Okay. To make the blood pressure go up and to make the body have more water. Okay. And we'll talk about that more in detail. Okay. Antidiuretic hormone, or ADH. Okay. ADH, it's released by the pituitary gland. Okay. And ADH controls how much fluid leaves the body in the urine. Okay. And it also, ADH also causes reabsorption of water from the kidney tubules. Okay. So again, antidiuretic hormone is going to be a big regulator of water. Okay. It's going to be released. Okay. If too much fluid is left out of the urine, okay, ADH is going to be released to tell the body, hey, you need more water because you're losing all this water in the urine. Okay. And then it's also going to tell the kidneys, hey, kidneys, you need to start reabsorbing some water because our fluid's low. Okay. So it's going to tell the body it's going to tell the body that too much water is leaving the body in urine, and it's going to tell the kidneys, hey, you need to start sucking in some water to help us out here because we're low on water. Okay, that's what ADH does. Okay, so it's a big, huge water regulator. ADH is a big, huge water regulator. Okay, aldosterone and atrial natriuretic peptide, or an ANP. Okay, two big water regulators. Okay, they're going to aldosterone and ANP are going to regulate the reabsorption of water and sodium ions from the kidney tubules. Okay, so it's going to work with ADH. Okay, aldosterone and ADH are going to work together to reabsorb that water when the water gets low in the body. Okay, so again, these two huge water regulators, antidiuretic hormone, ADH, and aldosterone and ANP. Mostly, I want you to really concentrate on ADH and aldosterone. Don't think too much about ANP. Mostly ADH and aldosterone. Big, huge water regulators. Okay. Baroreceptors in the carotid sinus and aortic arch, and the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are also going to be regulators. Okay. Like we were talking about before in the previous slide. Okay. What was it? The osmoreceptors. Okay. That are in those, that are in the vessels, that tell the vessels, they send out that alert signal that, hey, water is low here. We need water. We need you to start sucking up some water somewhere. Okay. Those are the osmoreceptors. Baroreceptors do the same thing. Okay. Except they're in the carotid sinus and the aortic arch, particularly. Okay. Those baroreceptors in the carotid sinus and the aortic arch are going to sense that the water is low in the body. And they're going to tell the body, hey, you need to start sucking some water in. We're low on water. Okay. So you have both the osmoreceptors and you have the baroreceptors that are also going to be alerts for low water. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, if I'm going too fast, raise your hand and say, can you slow down for a second? Okay, because I know sometimes I tend to talk a little fast. So just let me know if I'm going too fast, okay? Great. Let's see, back to the PowerPoint. Okay. Come on now. All right, so that's that's the water. We talked about the water regulators. Okay. So now we're going to actually talk about the movement of fluid and electrolytes. Okay. Why do we care about how fluid moves with the electrolytes? Okay. Why do we care about passive transport, active transport, and living cells in the solution, okay? Because these things are going to move water, okay? They're going to move fluid, and they're going to move those good electrolytes so that the body can use them. So we care about these things because if something's going wrong in the body, these things are not going to work properly. Okay, you're not going to have the passive transport, you're not going to have the active transport, or you may not have, and you may have to give this. Okay, you may have to give these living cells and solutions to be able to perform passive transport and active transport. So that's why we care about passive transport and active transport. Okay, because if something's wrong, okay, if a patient has a disease process, it's going to affect passive transport and active transport. Okay, it may cut out passive transport altogether, or it may cut out active transport altogether. Okay, so that's why we need to know about these things. Okay, so because we need to know about them, I need to tell you what they are, right? Okay, so passive transport, okay, is going to be the movement of water by diffusion, osmosis, or filtration. Okay, think about it like this. Passive, okay, think about somebody who's passive. They just go along for the ride, right? They just sit there and they let everything go around them and they let people do everything for them, okay? And they just sit and they go along for the ride. In passive transport, that's what water is doing. Water is going along for the ride. It's letting diffusion, osmosis, and filtration do all its work for it. Okay, it's just water's just hopping on diffusion, it's hopping on osmosis, and it's hopping on filtration, and it's just letting them do it. It's letting those forces do the work for them. Okay, that's passive transport. Okay, let's see. Active transport, okay, is when water or electrolytes, okay, because when I'm talking about electrolytes here in passive transport as well. Okay, so I'm talking about both water and electrolytes when I'm talking about transport. Okay, so active transport is when water or electrolytes actually do their own transporting. Okay, they don't rely on other forces. They are actually doing the transport themselves. Okay, and one, let's see, yeah. So an example of an active transport, okay, would be the sodium pump. Okay, a sodium pump is a form of active transport, and I have an animation think in this PowerPoint, but if not, I have the animation in the module as well, so you can see what a sodium pump actually does and why it's considered an active transport. Okay, the sodium is actually doing the work. The sodium is getting itself across that membrane with active transport. Okay, with the sodium pump. Water and sodium, okay? Water is kind of like a passive in the sodium pump, but sodium as an electrolyte is doing all the work. That is why it's called an active transport for sodium, because sodium is doing the work. Okay. So let's go through these forces here. Okay. Diffusion. Okay, diffusion is the process by which substances move across the membrane. Okay, so you have a membrane, okay, and you have substances on each side. Okay, those substances, whether it be cells, whether it be water, whether it be electrolytes, okay, they're moving through this membrane. Okay, that's diffusion. Okay, Diffusion is going to evenly, the force of diffusion, okay, is going to evenly distribute those cells, those electrolytes, and those waters. It's going to distribute them evenly throughout the surface. Okay, so you think of when somebody diffuses a situation, okay, they make things, you know, they try to make things on an even keel when they're diffusing a situation. Okay, they're trying to get everybody on the same page when they're diffusing a situation. That's the same thing. Okay, diffusion, in the process of diffusion, in the force of diffusion, diffusion is going to make sure all that good stuff, the cells, the fluid, and the electrolytes get to the right place and they're evenly distributed. Okay, that's diffusion. Okay, osmosis, okay, is going to be the movement of a pure solvent. Okay, we're talking a pure solvent as water. Okay, so think of pure solvent equals water. Okay, so osmosis is going to be the movement of water across a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, what's a semi-permeable membrane? A semi-permeable membrane, okay, is where some things can get out and some things can't get in, or some things can get in but some things can't get out. Okay, with osmosis, the force of osmosis is going to push that water across a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, so it's going to make sure that water gets through this semi-permeable membrane. Osmosis is going to do that. Okay, again, it's a passive transport method. Water is along for the ride. Okay, so that osmosis is taking that water along for the ride and it's pushing it through that semi-permeable membrane. Okay, filtration is going to be the movement of both water and solutes. Okay, so when we say solutes, okay, I want you to think of electrolytes and cells. Okay, that's what I want you to think of when you hear the word solutes. Okay, electrolyte and cells. Okay, that's going to be through that's going to be the movement of filtration, is going to be the movement of both water and solutes through that semi-permeable membrane due to a pushing force on one side of the membrane. Okay, so you have your semi-permeable membrane here where certain things can get in and certain things can get out. Okay, so let's say you have a semi-permeable membrane that's impermeable, that won't let sodium go through. Okay, so you have this sodium here. Okay, this is the pencil is going to be sodium. Okay, and the sodium's trying to get through. Okay, so in order for the sodium, but the semi-permeable membrane isn't just going to let sodium get through. Okay, so sodium is going to need that filtration force, okay, to push that sodium through that semi-permeable membrane to get to the other side. Okay, so again, sodium is along for the ride because it's filtration is a passive transport method. Okay, so sodium's going to come on filtrate, it's going to piggyback on filtration, and it's going to say, okay, filtration, you need to get me through this membrane here. Okay, so it's going to push sodium through the membrane, okay, and it's going to push it through to the other side. That's filtration. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so the diffusion, osmosis, and filtration are all passive mechanisms to get either water or solutes. Okay, and the example I used of a solute was sodium. Okay, to get them across that either membrane or semi-permeable membrane. Okay, any questions so far? Questions? right. So the time is this. Okay. All right. So, all right. So, going back, active transport we talked about. That's when the cells, such as sodium, okay, sodium's going to actually do the work of getting itself across the membrane. Okay. You have this semi-permeable membrane, okay, and you have sodium, okay, but sodium has this pump in it, okay. It's going to use this active transport pump to get itself through this semi-permeable membrane, okay. So that's how active transport's going to work, okay. Sodium's going to do the work itself, okay. Living cells and solutions, okay. Sometimes when you have issues with passive transport and active transport working, okay, you may need to give the patient some help, okay. And these living cells in solutions, which is also known as IV fluids, okay. Different IV fluids have different contents and they have different solutes in them, okay, to help get the water in the solutes, such as sodium or potassium or magnesium, okay, through that semi-permeable membrane and where it needs to be, okay. That's what IV fluids are. IV fluids are living cells in solutions. And you have three types: isotonic, hypertonic, and hypotonic, okay? And depending on the need of the patient, okay, is gonna depend on what IV fluids you're gonna use, okay? So isotonic, and again, Sarah RN, she's got a very good presentation on this. Isotonic is gonna be your neutral solution. Okay, an example of isotonic solution would be sodium, sodium 0.9% sodium chloride solution. Okay, that will be an example of an isotonic solution. It's a neutral solution. Okay, it's going to evenly diffuse everything everywhere. Okay, and this is used when a patient they don't need a particular electrolyte, okay? They don't need extra potassium, they don't need extra magnesium, they don't need extra calcium, okay? They have everything enough. They may just need the extra fluid, okay? The fluid part itself, not necessarily the electrolytes, okay? Hypertonic, okay, is going to be more solute base. So it's going to have more stuff in it, okay? More stuff, less fluid, I should say, okay? So this is when the patient needs more stuff. This is when the patient is going to need more electrolytes, okay? Or they may need more dextrose. They may need more sugar, okay? Dextrose is not an electrolyte, but it's stuff, okay? So when you think solutes, I want you to think stuff, okay? I want you to think electrolytes and other stuff, okay? It's something that the patient is going to need, something like an electrolyte, glucose, insulin, okay? Those are going to be solutes. That's going to be stuff that the patient needs, okay? So an example of a hypertonic solution, okay, would be dextrose 5% in water, okay? That would be considered a hypertonic solution. Dextrose 50% in water, that would be another example of a hypertonic solution. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got a lot of dextrose, okay? From the electrolyte side, okay, An example of a hypertonic solution from an electrolyte side would be 40 MEQs of potassium in saline. Okay, that's got a lot of potassium in it. It's got a lot of stuff in it. So it's a hypertonic solution. Okay, a hypotonic solution, okay, is going to be used when the patient may have too much stuff and needs more fluid. Okay, they may have like a patient in fluid overload, okay, or I'm sorry, a patient in dehydration. And we'll talk about this a little bit more. Okay, so I'm not going to, I know it sounds Greek right now, but we're going to be talking a little bit more about it. Hypotonic is when the patient has too much stuff. Okay, they may have too much sodium. Okay, they may have too much potassium. Okay, and they need more fluid. Okay, such as happens initially in the dehydrated patient. Okay, they have too much stuff, not enough water. Okay, so that is when you'll give a hypotonic solution, to give more water, to give more fluid to the patient. Okay, so those are some different living cells that are in solutions, or IV fluids, okay, that you would give in patient situations. Okay. Let's see what time it is. All right, we still got a little time. Okay. Okay, so we talked about passive transport. Okay, we talked about diffusion, osmosis, and filtration. Again, these are forces that's going to force either fluid or stuff, electrolytes or cells, through that semi-permeable membrane. And the fluid or the stuff is just going to be going along for the ride in passive transport. Okay. Active transport, okay, is going to be when the stuff, okay, or the water or fluid does it itself. Okay. It requires cellular energy. Okay, which means it's going to require that stuff or that water to do it itself. It's going to require energy on the part of that fluid or on the part of that stuff to get itself through the semi-permeable membrane. Okay, it moves, active transport moves molecules into cells against electrical or concentration gradients. Okay, so it's going to move itself against those electrical gradients, okay, or that semi-permeable membrane. Okay, and we talked about the sodium potassium pump. Okay, that is a major example of an active transport, is a sodium potassium pump. Okay, it uses ATP energy, okay, to get that sodium and that potassium across that semi-permeable membrane. Okay, any questions so far? All right, so now we're going to go into, let's see, we're going to go into deficient fluid, the fluid imbalances. Okay, so what happens when all this passive transport, active transport doesn't work properly because of a disease process? Okay, this is what's going to happen. Okay, you're going to have a fluid imbalance. You're either going to have too less of a fluid, or you're going to have too much fluid. Okay, so deficient fluid volume is when you don't have enough fluid in the body. Okay, some risk factors for deficient fluid volume are going to be impaired swallowing. Okay, when a patient can't swallow properly. Okay, extreme weakness. So when a patient is extremely weak or extremely lethargic and they don't even have the energy to feed themselves, or take a drink of water. Okay, that is going to cause deficient fluid value. Okay, disorientation or coma is going to be another risk factor. Okay, if they're not with the program, okay, if they can't even wake up, they're not going to be able to feed themselves. They're not going to be able to take a drink of water. Okay, they're out of commission. Okay, so that is going to that's going to be a risk factor for deficient fluid value. Okay, you're going to another risk factor: unavailability of water from vomiting, diarrhea, hemorrhage, diaphoresis, excessive wound drainage, or diuretic therapy. Okay, diuretics. Okay, a lot of cardiovascular patients are on diuretics. Okay, to get some, because in cardiovascular patients, okay, a big thing with cardiovascular patients is they have a lot of swelling. Okay, and they're fluid overloaded. Okay, so they will be prescribed a diuretic such as Lasix. Okay, to get rid of that fluid. Okay, however, sometimes that diuretic can work too well. Okay, and it can make the patient dehydrated or deficient fluid volume, or put them in deficient fluid volume. Deficient fluid volume is just another word for dehydrated. Okay, that's there. Those are synonymous. Those go together. Deficient fluid volume and dehydrated are the same. Okay, so again, these are going to be some risk factors. Okay, they're losing water from somewhere. Okay, so the body can't keep up. All right, and the body goes into this dehydration mode. Okay, any questions? Okay, some signs and symptoms. Okay, so this is going to be an assessment, what you're going to find in an assessment of a dehydrated person. Okay, they're going to be thirsty. Okay, they're going to have poor skin turgor. Okay, they're going to, when you go to take their skin turgor, okay, and you press their little piece of skin on their hands, that skin is going to stay up. You see how mine just went right flat? Okay, the patient with poor skin turgor, their skin is going to stay up or tinted. Okay, T-E-N-T-E-D, tinted. Okay, when a patient's skin is tinted, that means they have poor skin turgor. Okay, dry lips is going to be another sign. Dry tongue, dry mucous membranes and skin, and sunken soft eyeballs. Okay, a good way to tell if a patient is dehydrated. Okay, when you go to take their temperature, okay, and that temperature probe sticks to their tongue, they're dehydrated, or sticks to their lips, they're dehydrated. Okay, sometimes you don't even have to look at skin turgor. Sometimes you can just do it by taking vital signs, by just taking their temperature. Okay, if it sticks to the tongue or it sticks to the lips, if the temperature probe sticks to the tongue or it sticks to the lips, that is a sign of dehydration. Okay, weakness, dizziness, and postural hypotension. Okay, postural hypotension is when the patient's blood pressure drops when they move positions. Okay, it's also called orthostatic. Okay, so if you're in clinical, okay, and the doctor has written an order for orthostatic vital signs, that's what they are looking for. They're looking for that blood pressure drop in positions of that patient, because that is going to tell them if the patient is dehydrated or not. Okay, So in orthostatic vital signs, okay, you're going to take a blood pressure when the patient's lying, okay, when the patient's lying in the bed. Then you're going to sit them up. You're going to give them a few seconds, okay, and then you're going to take their blood pressure again. If their pressure drops more than 20 millimeters of mercury, so let's say they were 140 when they were lying down, and you sat them up and their systolic was 110, they're positive for orthostatics. Okay, they're positive for orthostatic hypotension. Okay, and when you stand them up and they almost hit the ground, then they're definitely orthostatic. Okay, because when they hit the ground, that means their blood pressure is super low. Okay, so the way the way you can tell if somebody's going to be orthostatic is if their blood pressure drops more than 20 millimeters of mercury between blood pressures, or if they become symptomatic. Okay, so let's say your patient is lying flat in the bed, okay, and you lift them up, okay, you sit them on the side of the bed and they're like, I'm gonna pass out. I feel so weak. Okay, you don't even have to take their blood pressure. You know they're gonna be orthostatic. Okay, or they just start talking and their eyes roll back in their head. You put them down. Okay, you lay them flat. They're definitely orthostatic at that point. You don't even need to take their blood pressure. You can say, this is what happened. You can tell the doctor and say, this is what they did. And the doctor's be like, oh yeah, they're dehydrated. They're positive for orthostatics. Okay. So when a patient has postural hypertension or they're positive for orthostatic hypertension, they are most likely dehydrated. Okay. Weight loss is going to be another huge sign and symptom of dehydration. They're going to lose weight without doing anything. Okay, without dieting, without exercise, whatever. They're just losing weight like nobody's business. Okay. Decreased urine production, dark concentrated urine with high specific gravity. Okay. So when a patient has decreased urine production, okay, that's a sign of dehydration. Okay, because the body is holding on to that urine. Okay, because the body is so dehydrated and deficient of fluid, okay, that those kidneys are holding on to that urine because they need it. They need that fluid. Okay, so the patient's not putting it out because the body's holding on to it because they're dehydrated. Okay, dark concentrated urine. What do you think dark concentrated urine looks like? You can either type it in the chat or say it out loud.
Like when your urine is like, I guess like brownish, and it might be like, I don't want to say cloudy, but it's just not see-through.
Yes. Okay. What consistency is concentrated urine? Is it going to be thin or is it going to be thick? It's going to be thick. Okay. It's going to look like Coke, the color of Coke, Coca-Cola. Okay. And it's going to have the consistency of thick soup. Sorry, those that like soup are having soup today. Okay. But that is what it's going to look like. It's going to have the color of Coke or getting close to a color of Coke. And it's going to have the consistency of soup. Very, very thick. Okay. And it's just going to look nasty. Okay. That is going to be a sign of dehydration. Okay. So that is why you want to be looking at your patient's urine. Okay. When you're doing your assessment and a patient has a Foley catheter. Okay. You want to be looking at that urine. You want to see, does it look like soup or is it okay? All right. because that's going to tell you if your patient's dehydrated. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's go a little bit more. Okay, so other signs and symptoms of dehydration are going to be thick saliva. Okay, your fluids, your body fluids in a dehydrated patient are going to be thick. Okay, always remember that because they're lacking water. Okay, so the excretions that's coming out of a patient in a dehydrated patient, if they're even coming out at all, are going to be thick. Okay, elevated temperature, they'll normally be running a temperature, okay, of above 100.6. Okay, that is going to be a sign or symptoms of dehydration. Okay, that's basically a immune response from the body. Okay, anything goes wrong with the body's temperature is going to go up. Okay, flat neck veins when lying down. Okay, so let's say you have the patient sitting up. Okay, and they have these big old neck veins, okay, on their necks. Okay, and then you go to lie them down and they flatten out. Okay, that's a sign they're not bulging anymore. They just flat, and you may not even be able to see them when they're lying down. Okay, that's a sign and symptom of dehydration. Flat neck veins. Okay, rapid, weak, thready pulse. Okay, so you would think, okay, initially, well, if a patient's dehydrated, then they're not going to have any water, so their pulse is going to be low. No. Okay, the body is going to respond when a patient's fluid is low. The body is going to respond by telling the heart, you better start doing some work. We low on fluid. Okay, so the heart's going to pump faster. Okay, but if there's no water to pump, okay, the pulse is going to be fast, but it's going to be thready. It's going to be very weak. Okay, you're going to barely be able to feel it. Okay, it's going to be fast because, like I said, the heart is pumping. It's trying to compensate for the low fluid, but it's going to be weak. You're not going to be feeling it like a bounding pulse, like when you go to put your finger on your wrist and you really feel your pulse and boom, boom, boom. That's not what it's going to be like in a dehydrated patient. It's going to be fast, but it's going to be, you can barely going to be able to feel it. Okay. Rapid, weak, thready pulse in a dehydrated patient. Okay. Increased hematocrit. A hematocrit is a lab. Okay. It's also going to determine blood volume. Okay. Hematocrit is the part, it's also called, you'll hear it called in clinical, an H&H. Okay. Hemoglobin and hematocrit. Okay. In the dehydrated patient, your hematocrit is going to be high because you're going to have more stuff in the blood and less water. Okay, that stuff is your hematocrit count. Okay, so you're going to have a high hematocrit count because you're going to have more stuff and not enough water. Okay, all right, any questions so far? Okay, nursing management. So what is nurses are we going to do for these dehydrated patients? Okay, we're going to increase their fluid intake or decrease the fluid loss or both. Okay, so we're going to increase their fluid intake. We may have to give them those IV fluids that we talked about. Okay, we may have to give them those isotonic or maybe hypotonic, okay, fluids because they have too much stuff on board and not enough fluid. So we're going to have to give them fluid. Okay, we may have to get them to, to actually drink, watch them and actually feed them. Okay, make them drink. Okay, force feed them, force fluids, they call that. Okay, But normally a good percentage of the time, 9 times out of 10, a dehydrated person is going to be on some sort of IV fluids. Okay. Decrease fluid loss. Okay, so how are we going to decrease the fluid loss? If a patient has a weeping wound, okay, and they're weeping from their wound, we're going to change that dressing, right? We may have to get an order for a wound vac to be put on that wound so that wound vac can suck all that, can manage that fluid, okay, so that that fluid's not going everywhere, okay? That's a way we can decrease fluid loss, okay? Nursing considerations, assigning an unlicensed assistive personnel, UAP, nurses assistants, okay, to encourage fluid intake, okay? Let's see, where is that? On page 34 in your book, under assignment considerations, this is something that you can delegate to a UAP. As an LPN or as an RN, you can delegate this task of encouraging fluid intake to a UAP, okay? It says if a nursing assistants or unlicensed assistive personnel is available to assist, assign the task of increasing fluid intake to that person. Work out a time plan to help the patient with regular periodic intake of fluids by mouth. Ask that the patient drink 4 ounces of fluid every hour. Advise of any safety precautions regarding difficulty swallowing or need for assistance. Okay, again, so that's going to depend on the acuity of the patient, how sick, how critical the patient is, on whether or not you're going to delegate that task to the UAP of encouraging fluid intake. Okay, but a good percentage of the time that is a task that you can delegate to a UAP. Okay. All right, so nursing management of nausea and vomiting. So what happens when we get nauseated and we vomit? We lose fluid, and we can't take fluid in a good percentage of the time by mouth, okay? Because the nausea prevents that, okay? So what are we gonna do as nurses to manage that, okay? So we're gonna give, if they can't have anything by mouth, we're gonna give them IV fluids, okay? We may have to go even as far as getting an NG tube put into that patient to feed them through the NG tube, or the stomach. They may have a stomach tube to be able to feed them through the stomach. Okay, if they're not able to tolerate food and fluids by mouth, we have to get those food and fluids into them some kind of other way. Okay, so we may have to put in an NG tube, or we may have to manage a stomach tube, a G tube or a J tube. Okay. Complementary and alternative therapy. C-bands are acupressure wristbands. Okay. Sometimes work for patients. And ginger is a natural antiemetic. Okay, so any foods with ginger, any drinks with ginger is good for nausea and vomiting. It works on the nervous system to stop that nausea. Okay, that's why a lot of people say drink Sprite when you're sick. Okay, drink Sprite when you're nauseated or vomiting. Sprite has ginger in it. Okay, so that's what helps. Okay. I worked with this nurse when I worked in the ER at Our Lady of the Lake, and she was pregnant. And the only thing that she could even tolerate at that time that she was pregnant was Chinese food. Okay. Because and specifically these noodles, okay, that had a lot of ginger in them. Chinese food has a lot of ginger in it. So that was the only thing that she could really tolerate and that she could eat. Okay. My uncle had lung cancer. Okay. And towards the end of his life, the only thing that he could eat and he could tolerate was ginger snaps. Okay. Because everything else would make him so super sick. Okay. So ginger is a natural antiemetic that you can tell patients about, that they can get over the counter, that they can put in their food to help them with nausea and vomiting issues. Okay. Some pharmacologic measures are medication measures. Okay. Medicines that we're going to give these patients. Okay. Antihistamines is one of them. Okay. Antihistamine is going to decrease that inflammation. Okay. Which is going to cause inflammation is an initial cause of nausea. Okay. So if you decrease that inflammation, you're going to decrease the nausea. Okay. Sedatives and hypnotics, okay, is also used for nausea and vomiting. Anticholinergics is another one, okay, and phenothiazines, okay. But your main ones, let's see, where is that? Okay, that's on page 36, table 3.2, okay. Your major ones that the major medicines that you're going to be used with nausea and vomiting are going to be your Phenergan and your Zofran. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go into too much about medicines in this class because that's what pharmacology is going to be teaching you. But if it's a medicine that's pretty important and that's used a lot in the disease process, then you will need to know it. Okay. Will you have to know the metabolism and all that other stuff? No. I just want you to know that that drug is mostly used for that disease process. And in this case, I need you to know that Phenergan and Zofran are going to be the most commonly used medicines in nausea and vomiting. Okay. All right. Have another nursing management of nausea and vomiting. We're going to have the patient lie down and turn his or her head to one side and have the patient sit and lower his or her head between their legs so that vomitus is not aspirated into the respiratory tract. If a patient is bedridden and they cannot move and they're nauseated, and you see they have that sign, they're gagging, okay, you need to have them sit up and turn their head to one side so they don't aspirate that vomit, okay, because that's going to lead to a whole nother issue. Okay. You want to hold an emesis basin close to the side of the face. Use a cool, damp washcloth to wipe the patient's face and the back of the neck. Something about emesis basins, a lot of hospitals now, they use those bags. Okay. They're blue bags and you put them and they catch more vomit that way than the emesis basins. So you'll probably see a lot more emesis bags, but if you have to, like, if you're in an emergency, and the patient's, actively vomiting, you may have to grab that emesis basin real quick. Okay. But just know that a lot of hospitals use those emesis bags now versus the basins. Okay. You want to have the patient breathe through the mouth when they're nauseated. You want to provide mouth care after the episode. That goes without saying. Okay. You don't want their mouth to be full of vomit. Okay. Or the smell of vomit or the taste of vomit because it's gross. Sucking on ice chips helps reduce nausea in some patients. Okay. A lot of chemo and cancer patients, they will actually give them electrolyte popsicles to suck on during their chemo. Okay, because it helps with the nausea and it actually gives them electrolytes during their chemo treatment that they may lose after the chemo treatment. Okay. A quiet, cool, odor-free environment helps calm nausea. Okay. So if the patient's in the hospital, you want to tell the family, you may not want to bring McDonald's in here. Okay. Try not to bring food, any kind of food in here right now. Okay. For the patient, because that's just going to make them more sick. Okay. Because think about a time when you may have been nauseated and vomiting and the smell of a certain food just sent you off. Okay. So it's kind of, you think about it the same with the patients. Okay. And if nausea and vomiting persist, you want to observe for dehydration. Okay. So if the nausea and the vomiting continue and they don't get resolved, okay, you want to be on the lookout that that patient's going to go into dehydration, and you want to get on the phone with the advanced practitioner and you want to tell them, hey, I think this person is going to be going into dehydration. Okay. So we may need more fluids. We may need to do something more. Okay. Any questions there? Older adults. So I'd said before, in every chapter, they're going to have a geriatric consideration portion of each chapter. Okay. So this is some things that you have to consider in the dehydrated adult. Okay. Older adult, elderly adult. Okay. You want to be cautious with rehydration. Okay, so when you're rehydrating them, when you're giving them fluids, you want to be very careful, okay? Because a lot of the elderly or older population have cardiac issues. A very good percentage of them have some kind of cardiac issue. Their heart doesn't work well. Excuse me. Excuse me. So their heart doesn't pump as well as some people, okay? So if you load them up with fluid too fast, okay, their heart's not going to be able to pump it out, and then they're going to become overloaded and they're not going to be able to breathe. Okay, so you want to, a lot of physicians will write, or advanced practitioners will write in their orders, gentle hydration. Okay. IV fluids at 50 cc's an hour, gentle hydration. That means that you need to be aware that this patient can easily go into fluid overload if you push these fluids too fast. Okay, so that's something that you want to worry about in the older adult. Okay, and like I just said, not necessarily the elderly, but anybody with severe cardiac problems, okay, are at risk for fluid overload from IV infusions. Okay, so anybody that has any kind of cardiac history, you want to be careful when you rehydrate that patient. Okay, because you don't want to put them in fluid overload because their heart can't pump out that fluid because the heart muscle is not strong enough. Make sense? Okay. All right, diarrhea, wonderful diarrhea. Okay, local diarrhea is local irritation of the intestinal mucosa. We're going to go over this last slide and then we're going to end. Okay, local irritation of the intestinal mucosa, especially by infectious agents and chemicals. So some kind of infection, bacteria is working on that intestinal mucosa. Okay, it's working on that inside part of the intestines. Okay, and it's causing a problem. Okay. Chronic and prolonged diarrhea, typical of ulcerative colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, which you'll hear it referred to a lot, allergies, lactose intolerance, and non-tropical sprue, okay, can cause chronic and prolonged diarrhea. Why do we care about chronic and prolonged diarrhea? Okay, they're losing fluid. They're losing electrolytes in the diarrhea. Okay, you can put a patient into dehydration if you don't properly manage the diarrhea. Okay. Another cause of diarrhea is obstruction to flow of intestinal contents. Okay, so if you have some kind of intestinal obstruction, okay, it will cause diarrhea. Okay, because the stool is not able to get out like it should. Okay, so it may go around that. It may go around that obstruction. The stool may go around that obstruction, but it's diarrhea. It's not formed, okay, because it doesn't have it's not the oh, my mind drew a blank. The peristalsis is not working correctly there, okay? So it's just going right through the patient, okay? So obstructions can also, they cause constipation, but they can also cause diarrhea too. And diarrhea causes considerable potassium and sodium loss. So not only are you losing water in diarrhea, you're also losing that good stuff, that potassium, that sodium, okay, that stuff, okay? And that's going to cause a whole bunch of other issues, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Okay. All right. So any questions, concerns, issues? I know I went over a lot today. And we'll go over, and like I said, we'll do a Kahoot before when at the start of class to see what you remember and to see what you didn't get, and you know that you may have questions about. Okay. And we'll go over that material, okay? And then we'll start electrolytes tomorrow.
Okay, so the non-tropical, what was it?
Sprue?
Yes, ma'am. Is that like celiac disease?
Yes. Very similar.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Lactose intolerant, all that kind of stuff, okay? Can do anything that does a number on the intestinal mucosa, you're going to have diarrhea. Okay. Any other questions?
So after this class, do we have like another class? I'm real confused about our schedule.
Yeah, you'll have pharmacology at 1 o'clock. So you have a
Okay.
2-hour break. Did y'all get anything from Miss Trailer yet?
I don't think so.
You sent us the link.
My email and it says,
Yeah, she should have a link to her Zoom or her Microsoft Teams. I don't know what platform she's doing hers on. I don't know if it's Teams or Zoom. I'm not sure. I think it's Zoom, but I'm not sure. But she should have sent y'all out a link. But that's going to start at 1 o'clock. Your pharmacology.
Her team meeting thing is underneath her profile on Canvas.
So kind of the similar where mine starts too. It says class starts at 12. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Y'all, because y'all go from 12 to 3. So yes, I'm my mistake. Y'all class starts at 12. Pharmacology starts at 12 o'clock. My bad. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Well, it was great meeting y'all. And like I said, I told some of y'all, I look forward to working with y'all and helping you to succeed in this class. And again, any questions, any issues, please email me, let me know. All right. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good
Thank you.
afternoon.
Have a good one.
You too.